Welcome. I'm Alan Pito, and welcome to day 2 of the 14-day Buddhist planner for the COVID-19 pandemic. So, as we learned in day 1, Mara is really the one who's manipulating us and kind of controlling our reactions, but we also have the ability to douse what's called the 3 fires or 3 poisons from actually affecting us. We're in control of our own actions, and our actions are all that we actually really possess. We learned that everything's impermanent, and is based upon dependent origination. Things arise and things cease as well too, which will include the COVID-19 pandemic. So for day 2, we're going to talk about right thought, the next part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So having a right view is definitely important. That allows us to see that map, to see the destination that we're going to and why. But now right thought, so like what's actually going on along this path, in our world, right? So we talked about Mara, right? So Mara is still there with us right now. We still don't have this ability in our practice yet to understand kind of like everything that's going on and how to react. So we want to make sure that we have a good guide, and our guide is the best one of them all. It's the Buddha, because the Buddha actually engaged with Mara, and he understands how to, I would say, deal with Mara, so we can deal with that too. And it's easy in the aspect that he gave us the plan, the Noble Eightfold Path. So right thought basically means we are going to be, everything we're going to do is in accord with the Dharma, the teachings, the Dhamma. So we want to make sure that everything we're doing is in accord with that. And when we do, really the Noble Eightfold Path becomes this perfect circle in our lives. We won't have this unsatisfactoriness, this suffering, etc., because we're doing everything in unison, together, perfectly, just like the Buddha did. So we want to have this right thought that yes, the Dharma is the correct way to go, and we're going to do that with the Noble Eightfold Path. So basically, a good way to think about this is, hey, align your thoughts with the Dharma, with the teachings. How am I going to speak to this person, or what am I going to do when I'm at that grocery store and as the last, apple or something I want to get there? You want to, essentially, what would the Buddha do? Like, what does the Dharma, the teachings, teach us to do? And when we think about that, then our actions no longer become unskillful, just reactionary. They become skillful. Oh, I shouldn't act this way. And we understand why, because we have right view, but also here is the correct way to respond. Here's a deeper understanding maybe of the situation. And it's all kind of happening simultaneously in that particular instant. That's where we want to be. So we always are going to do the 5 remembrances. Remember, this is what's kind of defeating Mara's manipulation, control over us. But remember, our actions are what actually is going to be the things we possess, what we can actually do. So for today, you are going to definitely look at the Dharma or Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha. You're going to go, yes, I do believe this is the right path. This is what leads me away from the suffering, unsatisfactoriness in our lives, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, that's going to cease. Could it come back up again? Sure, but it arises and falls, depends upon different factors, including our actions as well too. Like on day 1, I talked about. That's why we have social distancing and stay-at-home orders and quarantines and stuff like that, because our actions could, give the causes and conditions that allow COVID-19 to just continue or spiral out of control or just stay longer. So we have actions we can take that makes things impermanent, maybe a little bit faster than normal, and that could be a good thing. Now, impermanence, that's not always something that we like. For example, oh well, my mom, my dad, or whomever, friend or whatever, they may die one day, or already have, or I may lose my job, or I may not have money, or I may not have a house, or whatever the case might be, or I lose my possessions. Impermanence could be thought of in a bad way, but also like, wow, I won't have this illness anymore, or this this law that we feel is unjust will eventually go away. Whatever the case might be, impermanence is both, could be viewed as both good and bad. But in Buddhism, we're looking at that as impermanence, yes, good or bad, but it's all dependent upon of things arising and falling, conditions that fuel that coming on. What we don't want is the unwholesome or unskillful portions of it. So your actions is what you definitely want to be mindful of. Remember, mindfulness is a big thing about these 14 days, and throughout this entire pandemic. We don't want to just react. That's unskillful. We want to be mindful of what's actually going on. So when our thoughts are in accord with the teachings of the Buddha, it's hard to go wrong there. It's hard to go wrong because he is our lamp, if you will, on this dimly lit road, this path that we're going on, and he's showing this is exactly the way you should go. And when we follow him, we're getting to that end path. So make sure you do mindfulness today. Make sure you also do your 5 remembrances. And remember, when you go out there in the world, or you talk to people through video, for example, your workplace, whatever the case might be mindful. And remember, keep your thoughts in accord with the teachings of the Buddha. And that will allow you to do skillful actions and have wholesome karma, wholesome actions in return, which includes speech and everything else. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.